The one
One,
and only
two,
knitting
three.
tutorial for you to Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Hobby Libby. My name is Libby, very nice to see you again. So knitting is one of my many hobbies and I approach knitting with a modern twist. As promised in my last video, I'm bringing you the tutorial video number 1. In this video, I'm gonna show you step by step how to master the 11 essential techniques for complete beginners to knit my white bow sweater or any other sweaters you have your eyes on. So, my knitted friends, look no further. You found the one and only knitting tutorial for you to jumpstart your knitting journey. So, I gave a long and hard thought on how to make this video tutorial easy for you guys to understand and follow. I reflected on how I started learning to knit and the self-learning process I went through, the questions that I had, the researches that I did, and the difficulties I have overcome. And I came up with this. Can you guess what it is? It looks very interesting. This is by no means designed. I encapsulate 9 essential knitting techniques to knit any sweater in this swatch, and this is a byproduct of me demonstrating the knitting techniques step by step. And by the end of the demonstrating, and I got this. What an amazing surprise. Free creations are so much fun. There are total 11 essential techniques, and this one has 9 techniques, and for the remaining 2 techniques I'm gonna show you in different materials. So I want to mention that I learned most of my knitting skills from researching and watching video tutorials in Mandarin, which is my native language. So I referred to this Vogue knitting book for English terminologies. I got this book 16 years ago when I was pregnant with my son. This book definitely has a story to tell, which I'll share in my future videos when the right scenarios comes by. So to be clear, I'm a right-hander and I knit in English method or American method, which means I hold the yarn with my right hand. So this came natural to me when I first started trying knitting as a 5-year-old little girl under the influence of my mom and my big sisters last century somewhere in China. I didn't know this is called the English method until I read this book. I thought everyone knitted this way because everyone around me knitted this way. So if you knit in continental way or German way, which means you hold the yarn with your left hand or you're a left-hander, I hope this video tutorial still help you in some sort of way, but at this point I can only demonstrate in English method. Traditionally, it would be taught from casting on. There are tons of methods to cast on, and usually involves a lot of maneuvers with fingers, which I found super confusing and hard to follow, still do. So I'd like to shuffle things a little bit. Here is the learning flow that I came up with. I'll divide the 11 essential techniques into 3 groups. The first one is 7 basic knitting stitches. The second is 2 basic shaping techniques. And the third group is 2 finishing techniques. For the 7 basic knitting stitches, I'll include knit and purl, which is a pair, cast on, 1 by 1 rib, increase and decrease stitches, and binding off. For the 2 basic shaping techniques, I'm gonna show you how to do curves and slopes. And for the 2 finishing techniques, I'm gonna show you how to connect pieces together and how to pick up stitches and continue knitting. So don't be overwhelmed by the numbers, you'll get it in no time, I promise.
Okay, before we start the step-by-step tutorial, let's take a closer look of this demonstrating swatch. I listed all the skills here. Now I counted, it actually has 10 techniques packed in this swatch. So I listed the number in the order of the tutorial. Number 1 and number 2 is knit and purl. Number 3 is cast on. Number 4 is 1 by 1 rib. Number 5 is binding off. Number 6 is increasing stitches. Number 8 and number 7 is decreasing stitches. Number 8 is armhole shaping. Number 9 is shoulder seam shaping. And number 10 is neckline shaping. So in this tutorial, I'm going to cover 1 to 7. Sounds good? Okay, let's really get started.
So first, basics of the basics, knit and purl. Knit and purl is the foundation of knitting. It's like your ABCs in English language or the bricks in your buildings. Knit and purl comes in a pair. It's called knit on one side and purl on the opposite side. So let's do this.
As mentioned in my introduction, usually you would start knitting from casting on, but here I put knit and purl before casting on is because the casting on method I'm going to introduce will be built upon knitting stitches. The method I chose is easier for beginners to understand and follow. Okay, let's get started. First, you slip the first stitch off the needle. So this is a common practice when you're knitting because you don't want the edge to get too bulky, so you don't knit the first stitch. Okay, now let's go. Hold the working needle in your right hand, wrapping the yarn around your fingers. Insert the right needle from front to back into the first stitch on the left needle. Keep the right needle under the left needle and the yarn at the back. Wrap the yarn under and over the right needle in a clockwise motion. With the right needle, catch the yarn and pull it through the left stitch. Slip the left stitch off the left needle, leaving the newly formed stitch on the right needle. Okay, let's knit a couple of more stitches in normal speed. Repeat these steps in each subsequent stitch until all stitches have been worked from the left needle. One knit row has been completed.